I'm sure somebody that has some knowledge of the Dominican Republic legal situation can enlighten us. But my conspiracy theory and just thinking outside the lines, maybe that is
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Rays, your daily podcast covering everything Tampa Bay Rays, from game analysis to player interviews. We've got you covered with all the latest news and insights. My name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano,
bringing you expert analysis and passionate discussions about our beloved Rays.
Whether you're a diehard fan who vividly remembers Longo's Game 162 just like us,
or you remember the early Devil Ray days of Wade Boggs and Carl Crawford,
we're here to break down every play, every trade, and every milestone. In fact, this is our 6th season covering the Rays daily.
In every season up till 2024, they've gone to the playoffs, but you can still grab your favorite Rays gear, settle in, and subscribe to our Locked On Rays YouTube channel and other podcast platforms. You can also find us on X and Instagram at Locked On Rays.
Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started.
All right, there we go. Today's episode, we have an update on Wander Franco. If you have not heard, I guess it's going to happen. So they say his trial is set to begin on December 12th, a little more than a month from now, in the Dominican Republic, where, of course, he faces charges stemming from human trafficking and sexual abuse. I don't know if we're going to get too in the weeds of the nitty-gritty details there, but we might actually have some conclusion to the whole Wander Franco saga, assuming this trial doesn't get, I mean, is it set in stone, or can it be relocated, rehoused, delayed left and right? Because
I mean, ask the people that are delaying the stadium thing. So, I mean,
I guess it's a possibility. Yeah, what happens first? A movement on the stadium or movement on Wander Franco's trial? It is just another piece of poor news for the Rays. Although we should acknowledge and realize, even if he does get off the hook, I do not foresee him playing another game in the Rays organization. But yeah, it's another sucky situation.
Yeah, so let's just give people a little bit of background like you did. In September, a judge determined that there was sufficient evidence to proceed to a trial. So that prevented the potential dismissal of the charges. Now, he is facing 20 years in prison if convicted. The case will be heard by a panel of judges, as there are no jury trials in the country. I think, in my non-lawyer mind, in my just Joe Schmo take of just watching SVU and Suits and stuff like that.
Suits, SVU, that's what you need. You have an honorary law degree. In fact, the co-main character on Suits doesn't have a law degree.
True,
at least through
true.
season 2, of which I'm presently watching. So consider yourself a lawyer. I think in California, actually, if you pass the bar without going to law school, you have lawyer status. So, you know, you are the honorary legal expert of the Locked On Rays program.
Well, in that expertise, I will say, in these cases, it would seem to me that human emotion and that type of argument would sway a jury much more heavily than judges. I would think judges, although they're human and they're going to feel it too, judges might be a little bit more apt to stick to the evidence and what can be proven. So if Wander wanted just a slight, I think, sliver of hope, I think the they're not being a jury there. 12 people that hear these things, the alleged things, I think helps him. I don't know if you feel that way too. Again, we're not lawyers. I'm just thinking like,
Yeah.
if you say that to a jury, they might be more apt to, get on their emotions. Judges might feel a little bit more like, okay, but what's the evidence? Don't just tell me a story.
Just the
What's
facts
Right.
and the issues at play. So do we know, I know it says panel of judges, but do we know how many judges there are? Is it a panel of 3? Is it a panel of 5? Is it a panel of 7? Or I'm sure somebody that has some knowledge of the Dominican Republic legal situation can enlighten us. But my conspiracy theory and just thinking outside the lines, maybe that is fewer people that Franco and his team would have to pay off if it came to that. Wouldn't be the first time in history that a group of judges have been paid off for one reason or another. So I just wanted to throw that out there as a possibility, because a chunk of change of American dollars, I would assume, goes a lot further in the DR than in the States or elsewhere.
And his case will be heard by a panel of 3 or 5 judges.
Okay. So you only got to pay 3 or 5 versus 12 jury members, so to speak. So
I mean, that's a real hot.
That's a hot
theory.
Take, but just wanted to bring it up.
But no, I think it's fair. I mean, it's a possibility.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man, where we are with this thing.
It feels, is it just you or is it just me, or does it seem like this thing has been going on for like a decade? And really, it hasn't been all that long since he stopped playing for the Rays, and then you had him go on the restricted list, and the whole legal situation rears its ugly head. Like, it just seems that this saga has gone on way, way, way too long. And I'm just ready to have an answer one way or the other.
I have a theory why it's been so long.
Okay. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel. That is America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place those bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
If you're feeling sore or you want to stay aligned, The Joint is where you need to go. Why? Because they offer personalized care tailored to your needs. They will keep you moving and keep you feeling great. You have to take those times for yourself, and you can do that very easily at The Joint because there are no scheduling hassles. You can just walk in and they are there for you, or after work, or in the weekends, in the evenings. They've got it all. So today, if you're a Rays fan and a Bucks fan, you're going to get a heck of a deal. $19 for your first visit. And you can get this offer by going to Buccaneers.com. You can check out the contest and promotion section under the fans tab and download that offer. Again, $19 for your first visit. Go get it, people. Head to thejoint.com to find your nearest Tampa area location today. My theory of why it seems that this has taken on forever.
Yeah.
It's the two polar opposite seasons that we had back to back. 2023, tremendous. Couldn't have gone even better. I mean, playoffs notwithstanding, But in 13 games in a row, 99 wins, everybody's hitting. You have a tremendous giveaway with Wander Franco. The dude's last at bat was a walk-off home run. I mean, he started to flip baseballs and then throw them to first. Like he was becoming what we all had thought that he would become. Boom. Instagram video comes out, the whole thing, doesn't play that Sunday. And then we had such an offseason of like, what's going to happen? Is it going to be? Is it not going to be? Is it going to be? Is he going to be back? And then that amounts to the time seeming a little bit longer. And then 2024, my goodness, the whole season dragged on because of mediocre play. And then with no real updates from the Wander thing. So it just kind of like stayed in the back. And once it stayed in the back, it just makes you think that it's been so long. And that's my theory.
I think that's a really good theory. And 2025 could seem like a really long season if the Rays are not playing at Tropicana Field and moving from one place to maybe another place, and you add in a bunch of rain delays if they're playing outdoors. It could be a little bit of a mess of a situation. Just like the Trop saga has been going on for years and years and years. The Franco situation seems like it's been going on for years and years and years. And it's so crazy that in really a moment's time, the Rays looked like they made one of the smartest calls in sports history by locking up Franco, extending him. And then when August of 23 hits, I want to say August of 2022, because it seems that much longer. August of 23 hits, it's like, wow, they may have slightly jeopardized
their future.
Good they can be for ensuing years. So that's tough. And
it's 180, right? 181, 82, let's say 172 remaining on the contract. 172. Okay. That's still on the hook, man. Like, we don't know if, if he, let's say he's convicted, I think it's going to be pretty black and white of like, okay, the Rays get null and void. They don't pay the contract if he's convicted. So that's going to be a real easy thing. The gray will come what if he's not convicted? Are the Rays willing to take that PR hit so that they at least get some of their money into the field and do that? Or they say, you know what? We're not taking the PR hit. We don't care if he's not convicted. We're not coming back from him. Well, you're still going to pay him. So now you're just spending money every year for the next 9 years to this guy who either plays with another team or doesn't.
Yes. Yeah, that's tough. And based on what we've seen and what's been reported is the trial's outcome will influence whether the Rays owe Franco the remaining $172 million on his contract, and could be affected by an ongoing MLB investigation that may result in disciplinary actions. And if the Rays have the mindset of, we don't want him anywhere near this franchise, even if he is not convicted and he's ready to play ball, you're going to have a difficult time winning that trade if you're trying to ship him off to another organization, because I feel like not only would you not get anything in return per se, but you're probably going to have to eat a portion of that contract as well to make it worth that other team's while. Pennies on the dollar, so to speak.
I don't see that scenario happening at all.
Really? Okay.
I don't see the scenario happening where like he's not convicted and then the Rays are going to trade him and then take, like you said, cents on the dollar. I don't see that happening.
So you think that if nobody will bite at Wander Franco, they're just going to ride it out, ride the contract out as long as he's good or can play?
As long as something that we haven't mentioned, the MLB investigation. Now, MLB investigation is the last hurdle that can save the Rays from having to pay this contract if Wander Franco is not convicted. If he's found not guilty in the DR, now he can legally play, unless MLB does their investigation and says, actually, fam, we're not letting you in. You're not in our league. You're not paid. The MLBPA agrees. Boom. You can deny the contract, null and void. You're good to go. Or MLB's investigation says we didn't find anything, or we found something, and we are going to suspend him for 1 year without pay.
Right.
All right. Well, what happens the next year when you have to now pay this man $15 million? Are you just going to, are the Rays willing to spend $50 million for nothing? I don't think they would. Honestly, I don't think they would, because they weren't willing to put $15 million to Charlie Morton. They're not willing to pay Kevin Kiermaier $11 million. They're not willing to pay Tyler Glasnow $25 million. They're willing to pay someone $15 million for no production? That's hard to swallow. That's, if it happens, okay, but that is very difficult to imagine.
Yeah, it's almost unfathomable in that respect. And with Wander, I mean, luckily for the Rays, him being on the restricted list, he doesn't have to be reinstated to the 40-man roster during the offseason, so that gives them a little bit of wiggle room and flexibility over the next couple of weeks and months. His salary, by the way, is due to increase this coming season to $8 million. But I also wonder, and I know that we've had conversations with Evan Klosky, and he's kind of poo-pooed this idea, but I personally have legitimate questions about, I know he's a wonderkin. He's a once-in-a-generation talent, which I can't think of many athletes who have really made as grave a mistake for as talented as an athlete that they were. I mean, this is a Netflix documentary. This is a Hulu documentary. This will be, this is like American Crime Story FX deal. I feel like that we have, be it O.J. Simpson or Monica Lewinsky, or Aaron Hernandez, whatever it may be. But Aaron Hernandez is another guy. But how long will it take, and can Wander ever get back to the productive level of player that he was previously, knowing that he hasn't played meaningful competitive baseball for, I guess it would be going on more than a year and a half to 2 years. Plus, I would think that whatever, I really don't know how to frame this, but he was disliked while he was with the Rays. Imagine how disliked he could be for the rest of his life as well, even if he's a free man.
We've heard of Hall of Famers being disliked by their teammates many times. So this would be another type of dislike, heavily. Maybe that's what could move the MLBPA saying like, hey, look, man, nobody in the clubhouse wants this guy. Like, we don't want him.
Yeah.
Then that's another thing. But if that doesn't happen, I think there would be some difficulty with accepting him in the locker room by some guys. But some guys might just want to play ball, and they might like him as a teammate, but they don't, like him as a human being outside. I mean, again, I always go to this. Coworkers. Do you have to hang out with the coworker that you despise after work? No. But sometimes you have to get their help during work hours and talk to them and shoot the crap. Like, it's just part of it. So, I mean, doesn't it happen in football all the time? Isn't it Deshaun Watson or something like that? Like,
he had his own situation.
He has his own situation. We know Aroldis Chapman in MLB had his thing. So, like,
and you have Trevor Bauer, who's blackballed from the league. I know a little apples and oranges, but he can't sniff a major league roster ever again. So
and so it would be tough, I think, for some teammates, but I don't think it would be this like, nope, nobody wants him, so we're not gonna get that again. That would be very difficult for me to see that.
Yeah, it sucks. What could be, this team, if you had a 2024, like I've said before, the Rays, if Wander was healthy and available and productive, they'd probably sneak into the playoffs. They'd be an 89 win team, 88 win team, whatever it may be.
And not only that, but like, it just gives the fandom, again, if this hadn't happened, it gives the fandom like a reason of like, this is our guy. Like, this is the guy we're building our future around. Like, even if it's not a great season, you're still seeing your guy develop. And that's something that baseball fans like. We like to see the young players develop. And this was the guy. So obviously it would have been a difference. And to your first question, would he even be okay level wise to step right in? I think it's kind of, he would have it easier baseball wise than most people just because of his talent.
Right.
And also, if people can come back from ACL rehab and
True.
Achilles tore tendon and they don't play for a year, Tommy John, all these things. Yeah, I don't think it would. Maybe it would take him a little bit, but I don't think it would just like derail his career performance wise.
Again, I know different sport, apples and oranges again, but Michael Vick served prison time and came back and made it to the NFL again. So Just want to throw that out there. But yep, what could have been. And we hope that the Rays have a shortstop in the future in Carson Williams or somebody else. Somebody in the pipeline that can fill those shoes to some extent, because it really would have made the Rays' job a lot easier if Wander Franco was on the field. Heck, if it was trade deadline 2024, the Rays might have been buyers versus sellers. And he was the guy that you're ready to market your entire franchise about and crown him as the franchise stalwart. And I think part of the contract was building some excitement for a new stadium and showing that you're invested in a player or two or three that, hey, we're ready to ride this guy's coattails through 2028 and beyond. And, well, that's certainly not the case anymore. So, all right, changing gears here. We do have Hot Stove League going on, and I saw an interesting nugget or two that, Ulises, I want to get your take on. But first, we have to tell the audience something very important.
Guys, sometimes intimate moments happen spontaneously. All right. We all know this. I mean, but you don't want to boot that routine fly ball in center field. You don't want to, chuck that throw to third or forget to cover first. You don't want to play Yankees defense with your intimate moments in life. So, Kevin, if you don't want to play Yankees defense with your intimate moments, what should they do?
They should be going to HIMSHims. That's probably what the Yankees should have been doing throughout the course of the World Series, as we saw the results of that. If you don't know by now, HIMSS is changing men's healthcare by providing you with access to affordable sexual health treatments from the comfort of your couch. HIMSS provides access to a range of doctor-trusted ED treatments like chewable hard mints and Viagra and Cialis in their generics for up to 95% cheaper. It's crazy how they do it. The process is 100% online, so there's no need for uncomfortable doctor's visits. Nobody likes that. Just answer a series of questions on their site, and a medical provider will determine the right treatment option for you. If prescribed, your medication ships directly to you in discreet packaging for free. No insurance is needed, and one low price covers everything from treatments to ongoing care. With hundreds of thousands of trusted subscribers, HIMSS can help you find the ED option that works for you. So start your free online visit today at hims.com/lockedon. That's HIMS.com/LOCKEDON for your personalized ED treatment options. HIMS.com/lockedon. Plus, a little disclaimer here. The products mentioned are chewable compounded products, which are not approved by or verified for safety or effectiveness by the FDA. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See their website for details and important safety information. Subscription is required, and the price varies based on product and subscription plan. So, interestingly, as we mentioned, Wander Franco, his salary would be due to increase to $8 million this year. Tied in with that, the Atlanta Braves recently declined Travis d'Arnaud's $8 million option, making him a free agent. We know the Rays need help at a couple positions, outfield perhaps, shortstop perhaps, indefinitely catcher. And Travis d'Arnaud has played for the Rays. He's been successful with the Rays. He's been successful with the Braves. He is getting a little bit longer in the tooth at 35 years old, and the Braves seemingly having another answer at the catcher position in Sean Murphy, and maybe making a play for a free agent or two, or maybe they're dealing with their own financial struggles that they said, yeah, we're not going to re-up Travis d'Arnaud, which, he could theoretically come back for a lesser type deal with the Braves. But as of right now, it seems to be open season for him. So should the Rays just go ahead and say, hey, Travis, we'll give you $6 million in a club option? I mean, should we just start throwing money, throwing a couple million, sprinkling a couple million to try to lure this guy into a Rays uniform again?
This is the type of situation where I like where we tie this to the Wander contract, because if you don't have to pay those $8 million and you just have the team that had Travis d'Arnaud for $8 million, that they're telling you, we don't think that you're worth $8 million. Let's just go like little by little. So the Braves don't think that he's worth $8 million. He's 36 for the 2025 season. So he's getting old in the tooth. You don't know about injuries if they're going to catch up to him. He's been around a while. Okay, fine. If you're the Rays and you know that one of your biggest positions of need are what he can do, and you think between Rordvet and Logan Driscoll, you might have something there as a backup number 2, and then Travis can be your number 1, and your number 1 in this situation would be, given his age, Travis, can you give me 100 games? Can you give me 90 games? Can you give me 80 games? 80 to 100, I think it's fair. If you give him $8 million, you're going to outbid everybody. Yes. Outbid everybody. So if you take that Wander for Travis money, I think it would be a yes. But if you want to at least save a couple bucks, I think your option might even work too. Give him around 6 mil, 7 mil, maybe with a club option tied, depending on plate appearances or games played, whatever may have you. Yeah. And that way you can move on. But Travis d'Arnaud, I mean, he has been a guy that gives you 700 OPS basically every year.
At least, yeah.
He just had 18 home runs this season, which is a career best. I know it's a peak, so it might not repeat. I get it. But it's not like out of this world to think that he can give you a dozen home runs a year, which coming from the catching position that we just had, that would be a very good improvement.
I'm with you. I say, look, the Rays have spent money on worse things, i.e. Phil Maton, i.e. Yoshi Tsutsugo. At least you have a known quantity in terms of what Travis d'Arnaud brings to the locker room, brings to the organization, brings to the pitching staff, brings to the team. I think that he would be a great example to set for a Ben Rortvedt, for a Logan Driscoll, for maybe a Dominic Kagan, because this isn't like, the Braves, my understanding is that they would like to bring him back. It's that they're just trying to free up some money here and there. Like they've got to pick up Marcell Ozuna's option. They might have to re-sign Max Fried. They might want to go out and get a big player like Willy Adames.
Right.
So creating that additional flexibility, but he has just been raved about since going to the Braves. Plus, they have a really good number 1 in Sean Murphy. So I think their line of thought is, why do we need to spend $8 million on a backup catcher? How many backup catchers make $8 million? Where for the Rays, he would be the quasi-primary catcher. Like, I would love to see 9,900 games from Travis d'Arnaud in a Rays uniform in 2025. And if it doesn't work, okay, you move on after that. But it's not like you got a whole lot of other options out there. There's Danny Jansen, Higashioka, and Carson Kelly. And out of that group, I'd still probably rather have Travis d'Arnaud because he's been there, done that. And I think this might be like the last good year for Travis d'Arnaud. I think there's a little bit more that you can squeeze out, eke out, have him be a 1 to 1.5 4 player, and that's really all you need. All you need if you have visions of being competitive and not punting on the 2025 season. If you're planning to punt on the 2025 season, then okay, fine, do whatever you want. Just, bring back Alex Jackson for all I care. But if you really want to try to make a concerted effort, I feel like a move like this needs to be done. Pick up the phone, get it done, and let's make it happen. That's all I'm saying. I mean, there's something to be said for the Braves. Didn't they like work out 2 or 3 different extensions with Travis d'Arnaud over the years since
I believe so.
Became a member of the Braves back in 2020? It's so crazy that he was with the Rays last in 2019. Man, time is just flying.
Yeah, I mean, that's COVID for you, like just messing up your brain. I have a quick trivia question though.
Okay.
Regarding Travis d'Arnaud, he last played in 2019. Kevin, can you name me the pitchers that are still in the Rays organization that saw Travis d'Arnaud be a teammate?
So they weren't just in the minor league system, but they actually pitched on the same team with Travis d'Arnaud, correct?
Correct. They were on the major league team with Travis d'Arnaud.
I would say Shane McClanahan, Pete Fairbanks.
So let's
not
slow
Shane
it down
Boz,
here.
but Brendan McKay.
So let's slow it down. Shane McClanahan is incorrect.
Okay, 2020.
Shane Boz, incorrect. Brendan McKay, very good one, correct. Pete Fairbanks, very good one, correct.
Colin
And
Poche.
there is one more guy, Colin Poche.
Okay,
very good, Kev. Very good.
Plus, I think that something d'Arnaud doesn't get a lot of credit for, although we knew this back in 2019, was he has some clutchness to him, depending on how much you value it. For example, we like when Jose Siri is on for a handful of games throughout the year, and then the rest of the year it's like, okay, come on, give us something a little bit more. But there had been many a time with the Braves and the Rays where he came through with a game-ending go-ahead hit, home, or whatever it may be. Just a notable play there. So I like it. I would like to see a move like that. I think it just makes it all the much easier to solve your catching question and not have to go through a lot of headache and concern. So
it's a guy that knows the organization. The organization knows him. He has hopefully good relations that he made with the team.
You hope
$1 million is too much, but again, you have to beat other teams that want Travis d'Arnaud. And if the Braves are saying no, you're not worth $8 million, if you at least make it close to that, then Travis might deal with that. But other teams, again, you're saying, not every other team that needs a catcher, it's also looking at the same damn list of Jansen, Higashioka, Carson Kelly, d'Arnaud. So it's a priority for you to fix the catching position. This is a situation where I agree with you. This might be the last dance, the last year that you have a productive Travis d'Arnaud given his age. Let's go for it.
Experience. He's been in the league for 12 years too.
Exactly.
That means something. But I think with Travis d'Arnaud, something that may work in the Rays' favor. I know that 2019 they didn't give him an extension or keep him around, and the Braves pilfered him like they've done so many other former Rays. But if the Braves come back to him and say, "Hey, we'll give you $6 million for this year," and the Rays say, "Okay, we'll match it. We'll give you $6 million or $5.8 million, whatever it is." If you're Travis d'Arnaud, do you want to go back to the team that declined your option or go somewhere else? Because I believe the general manager, Alex Anthopoulos, said right after the season in a press conference that it was a done deal, that he was going to pick up the option of d'Arnaud. And then something happened between now and then, and you're going back on your word, so to speak. And I would think that would upset a guy like really anybody, that you're set, you're pretty much prepared and ready. Okay, my option is going to get picked up. I'm good to go. And now you have this curveball thrown your way, and you might just say, see you later. I'm done with your organization after 4 or 5 years. I'm going to move on elsewhere. So, so I think that is something. And also the players that have experienced Travis d'Arnaud, maybe they can vouch for bringing him back, like Brandon Lau, like Yandy Diaz, like some of those pitchers. I think those strongholds might be able to, whatever influence they have, I think, firing off a text or an email or a message that, hey, Travis d'Arnaud is available. We had issues with catcher last year. Let's make a move. We need a right-handed catcher.
I'm not going to say that this would have changed Alex Jackson's experience and outcome and performance in the major leagues. But if a guy is struggling that mightily, who was he turning to? Who did Alex Jackson have to tell him, hey man, it's okay. Hey man, I know it's tough. Hey, I know you're doing a good job. Like, who is doing that to him? Because I think it would resonate a little bit better if it comes from a guy like Travis d'Arnaud. If Travis d'Arnaud
had been champion versus a guy who previously to joining the Rays hadn't played more than like 35 games in any major league season,
how is he going to sound, not authentic, but something like that? I don't know. I feel like Travis d'Arnaud, I would be willing to let's go for it. And if we get burned, we get burned, but at least we made a play, and we have to make a play at catcher.
Yes, we do. Indeed. All right. Let us know what you think in the YouTube comments there. And maybe to your point, Ben Rortvedt, not saying he would be this type of guy, but maybe there's a mindset out there of, hey, I'm not helping anybody. I'm trying to make my own bones here. Whereas Travis d'Arnaud, he didn't really have much more left to prove. He knows this is more or less his swan song. So he might be more willing to impart some wisdom and guidance and ideas and tips and hints and so forth. So just food for thought there. All right. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and we will talk to you on Thursday.